Music. Do you got music on? Hey, everybody. This is the Undercurrent, and today we're going to be catching up with Jeremy Trebas from our Senate here. How you doing, Jeremy?
I'm doing okay. It's been kind of a up and down week in Helena at the first week of the legislative session.
Yeah, a lot of things got turned upside down, and I have an article pulled up about it a little bit, and then maybe we can go off of the article topic, how the Senate got all messed up, and how this curveball all of a sudden just ended up coming the I was expecting it in the House.
Yeah,
I didn't think there
that's
was
where
going
you
to
would
be
expect
any.
it.
That's where I was expecting it, and I know a lot of other people that I was speaking with were like, no, wow. That
Yeah.
what happened? So all of us laymen's are out here trying to figure this out and being armchair quarterbacks and trying to figure it out. And I thought maybe, well, you know what? I'm just going to get it from you, and maybe you can give us a heads up on kind of what's happening in the Senate, and then we can kind of go from there.
Mhm.
So I'm going to share this. I'll share this. Okay, so we have this article here. Montana Senate works to get back on track. Just from the get-go, what are they talking about? What track do we need to? What happened?
Well, 15 minutes into the first day, we had our rules available to vote on for the session, and another senator came up with a different set of rules that he wanted in place, and moved the motion. And I think it was the Democrat minority leader who made the motion, and 9 Republicans joined him and overrode the main Republican caucus. There's 32 people with R's behind their names in the 50-person Senate, and 9 of the Republicans voted with the Democrats to override their caucus.
What is the reasoning behind this? I mean, is there a lot of rules that are being negotiated? Are people meeting with other people to try to get anything moving or resolved?
There was a lot of that motion today in the last couple days. It's kind of why the Senate is off to this slow start, is to get back to what we thought we all should have initially agreed to, but that's still off the rails, and we affirm that tonight with another vote on a set of rules. And so sounds like we don't have a resolution to the problem that's causing the issues.
Well, they're using some pretty strong words like rebellion. Do you see it?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it started with, one of the persons spearheading this was the former Senate president, and he didn't win the president race this time, and so I think it's a trail of vindictiveness for sore loser, basically.
So, how long do you think this is gonna go on? Are we past it? Are we over the hump?
No, the hump is just ramping up. I think this is going to be a session long ordeal.
Is it really?
Yeah.
So does this shut down committees? Does this what does it do to the committees?
It slowed them down because we didn't really have operating rules, and part of the motion that passed was reassigning people from one committee to another. So we've got to deal with the new people that are on committees. Normally in November we decide through what's called a committee on committees of 6 senators who's going to be on these committees, and they did that, and we met, and it got blown up on day one.
So you guys have a strict schedule to keep. You guys wanted to be out early. Is that as the session goes on? I mean, how many months is it in? To remind everybody, how long does this all go? 4 months, about?
Constitutionally, we can meet up to 90 days in a regular session, and that's what we budget for. And that usually translates to 4 months with weekends and holidays and a break in the middle.
Oh,
so end of April is when we expect to be done, one way or the other.
Can they go over those days though? Right? There's no limits on that 90 days, or does that have to go to vote, or what happens?
You'd have to budget for it, and you'd have to call a special session.
Okay. So what do you mean for the budget? Excuse the layman over here. I'm really trying to learn because the more I'm listening and I'm looking at social media, and I'm reading up on this, and it's just these articles that we're reading like this. We're you know we don't know what those budgets are.
Mm-hmm.
Is it where does that budget come from? Does it come from the general funds? Does it come from do you know where it comes from?
I mean, roughly, yes, in a sense. We have to set a budget for our session to make sure we can um, pay for what happens during the session, and we budget for up to 90 days because constitutionally that's what we can do. Usually we end a couple days early, so we maybe go to day 88 and then leave. So we have a day or two just in case we have a special session, and then it's already kind of budgeted for, without us having to go through an appropriation process.
Okay. Okay. And so we last episode, you and I talked about some of those bills that you're looking at. How does that stall them? And which ones have, if you've been starting any, have you started any to get into committee?
There's a few here and there. I think after tomorrow we'll probably start assigning more bills, but it takes a little time for legislators to pick up their bill. They have 2 days to get sponsors. They have to drop their bill to be then assigned to a committee. The committee chairman has to assign a time and date and room and give the public 2 to 3 days notice that there's going to be a bill hearing on that bill. So it takes a little time once you pick it up and drop it. And so there'll be bill hearings next week. There's been a couple this week, but we'll probably start getting hearings going and start having semi-normalcy there. But I think there's going to be a lot of backlash depending on the sponsor when it comes to certain bills.
Wow. I mean, it just, what a way to kick off this new year. I don't know why I guess, controversy always brings good media, I guess.
Yeah.
So, brings in.
The bloodbath sells, the sensationalism sells.
It sure does, man. It sure does seem like that, right? They all talk about good turns of transition and of power, and how civil they all want to be. But then as soon as we walk in, it's just like, man, can we just put it down for a few and just get on with the business of the state of Montana, please,
Right.
and just move it along. I don't know what their play is. I'm not savvy enough to know what their play is, or
I don't think they know what their play is. I think one person's heard about not becoming president, and the rest of them just want to cause a problem for the real conservatives.
Oh, honestly, so on our dime, these guys want to mess around and just screw around like this. Because that's right. We the people are just complacent, and we just get to say, yeah, go ahead, spend their money, and just bicker amongst yourself like a bunch of school kids sitting in some sand.
It can become that. Yep, and it devolved pretty quickly. So there's been sessions like this. I haven't necessarily had a session like this, but I've heard horror stories, and I guess I figured it was about my time to encounter one. But there's been some nasty sessions in the past, and fortunately, I've largely had good sessions, which are relatively low drama. But we're kicking this off with a bang this time.
Well, and if we jump out of the state of Montana, right, and we say contentiously, out there, is the word that they throw around is payback, right? They want to go after all of their opponents and everything else. Well, we don't know if that could be true, but do you think that this is kind of like that sentiment is coming down to the states too? Is like, well, we didn't get what we wanted last time, and the Republicans did whatever they wanted to do last time, so we're gonna send you a little message and do a little payback. Do you think that's something, or no?
There's always going to be election type sentiment that boils over, where one faction had their person, the other faction had their person, even just within the Republican Party, and there's going to be blowback from that, when and where people get back together, and that's part of the political process. It's politics sometimes.
Well, I got to ask you, how's the bathroom issue going?
I think there's going to be a bill hearing on that tomorrow morning. There's going to be a bill related to that in House Judiciary. So on the House side, they're kind of mostly business as normal as far as committees hearings are going for now.
Right.
So
And do you think it would be strategic in the way that they know that if they would have left the House alone, that they could still get bills passed up to there until they send them up to you, and they could still function? So we'll just send a message and postpone this because it's going to be postponed anyways, is what I'm hearing. It usually takes off slow. All the veterans are talking to the newcomers and training up and is just buying time too, you know.
well,
Yeah.
the House, and the Senate usually they function independently until it comes to transmittal, which means the midpoint around the end of February, beginning of March, where unless it's a bill that raises revenue, I think maybe or spends money, they have to cross the finish line, meaning they have to pass their chamber and then go to the other chamber to be successful and not die. So the House is just business as normal. The Senate started off slow. We do have a record number of bills, I think, again, after having a record number of bills last session drafted up. And so we'll be busy at some point.
Well, I was talking to a bunch of your Republican party members. They're really excited about you being up there. I am too. I had a nice lunch with a couple of them yesterday, which I had to leave work. I had a lunch. I had like 3 minutes to kind of go, and I went out and had lunch with some people. So I'm also, that's where I'm kind of hearing some of that frustration, but at the same time, they know that they're in good hands with Jeremy. That's for sure. Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. So what else can you got? You got anything else that's going to be coming down the line that you like to talk about and let everybody know?
Yeah, I'll have a bill hearing on Tuesday, I believe. Tuesday, probably around 9 or 10 a.m. in Senate tax. And I'm going to drop 3 bills to be assigned tomorrow. So those will probably be assigned to committees next week. And those have to do with county government functions like elections and some other things. So I'll probably have 3 or 4 bill hearings next week that are public and in the Senate side.
Yeah. We were also talking about how we need this type of media to come back into Great Falls, into our area here, because it's just not being processed through our media here in Great Falls, and really just talking to people like you and hopefully moving forward with that. But education is the biggest thing that I heard why another thing like the Undercurrent needs to be kind of done, and we can't appreciate you even more for coming on. I'm hoping that we're going to have some more visitors coming up here. We kind of have a little small list. I'm not going to indulge, but believe it or not, they're Republicans, which we want to hear from everybody. We want to hear from all sides of it. So if you have anybody there that would like to come on and talk, we would sure love to have them and come on and tell us about what's going on so we can educate really what's going on down here and up there on the hill. I think that's very important. So, well, thanks for taking the time. I know you're a busy guy. You're also doing, I think you also do your work at the same time. I mean,
yeah, that's starting off a little slow too for tax season. So January usually starts off slow and then everything starts ramping up,
right.
February, March, and April. I'm running gangbusters.
Right. And I think people have the stigma that people just quit, stop their jobs when they become a legislator and things of that nature. And it's like, no, you guys still all have families. You guys are running. You're just still doing work on the road, and I can't appreciate it anymore. And having that time. So I know how hard you work. Personally, I know how hard you work, and that really makes a difference. And they need to know that stuff. For sure.
Yeah, sure do. I have lots of responsibilities. A lot of people start this, politics once they're retired, but I've felt compelled to get in it early, so here I am balancing all the things.
Yeah. And thank you, by the way, for doing
Thanks.
that. I really do
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Oh, yeah.
Well, will you keep us informed? Keep us up to date. Let me know when these bills come in. We'll check in maybe a couple more days and kind of see. I know I'm going to be making my way up there.
Good.
And I'm not going to make it up there until this thing starts kicking off. I
Mm.
might want to be up for the fireworks in the Senate. I don't know, maybe. But my wife is going to let me take off and come up there for about 2 or 3 days again.
Oh, yeah.
And I just want to pick the right time to kind of go up there again. So,
Hmm.
all right. Well, this is the Undercurrent, and we can't thank you enough. And hopefully we'll see you next time, and we'll be giving you guys some more information. Everybody, have a good night.